This is Elizabeth Stephen, business librarian at Western. This is a video on how to use IBIS World and a few other resources to do some research for your Marketing 382 class. Traditionally, IBIS World is meant for industry research. Because you are looking for information related to legal aid, it's not going to be used for your traditional industry research. Now, IBIS World is marketing industry database. If I went in and did a search for legal aid, what I will find mainly are going to be industry reports related to commercial law firms. Well, in many cases, when looking at an industry that is related to what you are looking for, so legal issues, looking for information from a legal or law profession, you might be able to find some things that are related. But honestly, going through this industry report, so much of this is about corporate profit and about commercial legal firms or commercial law firms. They really aren't that useful. What I would recommend is doing a search for a related type of industry, a related nonprofit industry. So I am going to search for Habitat for Humanity. So this brings up the natural disaster and emergency relief services in the US. That's not really that related to legal aid, but there are some specific things I want to point out. When you're looking at any industry, there's going to be what they call the supply chain. So here you're going to have the key economic drivers. One of the things that you need to be aware of with anything that is donor based, it's going to be based on what people make. That is how a lot of nonprofits, most nonprofits get funding, is through some sort of donation system, and that is often based on a per capita disposable income. This link right here actually brings me to a profile about per capita disposable income. This tells me kind of what the growth outlook is, which could actually give me an idea or what are the possibilities for more donors to any sort of nonprofit in the future. What I mainly want to look at right now is industry performance. So you'll see key external drivers, corporate profit, but I am actually going to scroll down and I want to look at current performance. So current performance for this industry, there are certain things in here that really do relate back to pretty much any sort of nonprofit, especially the second section here, individual and corporate donation drive revenue. There is something here that's talking about industry revenue has benefited from an increase in private contributions. Private contributions are especially important, and it is estimated that 78.4% of industry revenue is generated from private donations. Now that's for this specific industry. I'm going to guess there probably going to be some similarities to other nonprofit industries. So looking at this, per capita disposable income is estimated to grow, and this last sentence here, when disposable income rises, more people are able to donate materials or funds to support industry organizations. People who already donate are likely to donate larger quantities. So there's a little bit here, even though this is relating to disaster relief. This is telling me in general, per capita disposable income rises, donations from private donors increases. That's something that could be really useful when you're looking at a local or a community-based nonprofit. While IBIS World may not necessarily be that useful when you're looking for industry information, when you are looking at a smaller or specialized industry, what can be really great are professional or industry organizations. There are two that I wanted to point out. There's Legal Services Corporation and the National Legal Aid and Defender Association. These are not necessarily the only associations out there, but I thought that these could be very useful. The Legal Services Corporation, if you take a look at what they have information that relates to what they do. They provide financial support for civil legal aid to low-income Americans. This is where you can go to maybe get some information about legal aid in general, but also some context that might help with legal aid in general. Looking up here, you'll see what is legal aid, how they work, information on civil legal aid data. They also have maps and other types of information. They have an annual report that will probably also be very useful. Looking at their media center, they're going to have client success stories, publications, and then also resources. These are all things that could be really useful when looking at kind of the industry of legal aid. Going back to the National Legal Aid and Defender Association, some really great resources that could be useful. They have issues and initiatives regulations and policies. They have an advocacy center, tools and assistance. They have civil aid legal resources. Again, looking at funding, LSC funded programs, section strategic advocacy. Then there are conferences and trainings. Now, some of this may be behind a paywall because they're for members, but one of the things that I found useful was actually looking at webinars. If you scroll down, you'll see some of the webinars that are available. I was looking at, so here's one, case studies in community economic redevelopment. This is a webinar from 2017, and you can look at the presentation slides. It may not be the full webinar, but that might be some information that can be useful and helpful when you're going forward. So take some time, look through the Legal Aid Services Corporation and the National Legal Aid Defender Association, and even look around for some other organizations or associations. In addition to looking at the websites related to Legal Services Corporation and the National Legal Aid and Defender Association, it might be a good idea to do a search in Business Source Complete for either one of those. This is a quick overview looking at finding information on legal aid, specifically legal aid and nonprofit industries. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, email is usually the quickest way to get a hold of me.